So for part two of this whole of what my discussion I was having about why there's never been a golden age of humanity, is that for this issue is for part two, what I want to discuss is just continue on with the last point I was discussing for the previous video I did, which was pretty much this whole there's a two-sided thing. You could either be the type of person who's materialistic, and all that sort of stuff. There's no real materialistic, and all that sort of stuff. And they ridicule the people who are materialistic, and you have the people on the other side who are materialistic, but they but at the same time they have to be some of the biggest snobs and some of the biggest jerks on like the face of the planet. Like look at history. Like really look at history. Every single person seems to fall into one of those two categories. It's actually pretty interesting, fits in those two categories. You have those people who say, oh, I'm humble, forget this, forget all the flashiness. And I'm thinking to myself, well, okay. Forget about the flashiness. I don't want to eat what the royals are eating, even though I'm from royal lineage. I'll just eat what my field men are eating. And it's kind of like pretty much the underground community nowadays. Like they don't know what the hell they want. The underground community nowadays. They don't know what the hell they want. Like one moment they say, this, they say that, oh yeah, this person's so underrated. Next moment they're saying, oh yeah, well, it does seem that way, At the same time they're saying, yeah, I don't want to be famous, but at the same time, they're trying to get their message out to people. And honestly, this is not even including some other issues of why we've never had a golden age for humanity. For one, another important issue of why we've never had a golden age for humanity is because just in general, there's just too much freaking bullying. There's too much bullying and too much people who just ruin things, And this is another problem, and I think for this covers many different civilizations, is that in general another issue that starts to emerge is this whole nerd versus cool kid sort of thing, for versus cool kid sort of thing. And you might be surprised by it. You might think the cool kid, the nerd, is one, throughout history is the one building architecture and stuff, and the cool kid is like the one bragging about how many Gauls they killed, from being a part of the Roman legionary. But it's actually not exactly like that, That's maybe more of a modern way of thinking, they did have some very brilliant people. Besides that, war was a part of life back then because people didn't even understand the languages each other spoke, and a lot of people did not know how to communicate with each other, and stuff. So honestly speaking the truth, war was very common in those days, and I think if we had similar situations, we might even still have wars today, if we had unpopulated areas. Because there's always that one person that wants to be the next big thing. There's always that one city that does not like this other city for whatever reason. Just all that sort of stuff. But despite that, you always had those people who are very smart, very dedicated to what they did, but because they lack that intellectual, yeah, I have to pause the video for a second. Because they lacked the people smartness, the people smartness, everybody always picked on them. And I mean, everybody picked on, pretty much took advantage of them because they thought they would be an easy target. You know, they would be an easy target for there would be an easy target. They plagiarized their ideas. They treated them so badly. They said, "Oh yeah, you're a nerd. You're too smart for your own good. Are you possessed by something and stuff?" And and I heard, and there's even a few videos. There's even a video I watched once, that talked about by some YouTube subscribers who says that a lot of the things uh and just in general, anybody knows anything about history knows that every civilization could have been much better. Even if you see some of the coolest looking civilizations, they could have looked better. They could have been had better architecture. They could have had better food. They could have had probably a better military. But a lot of times they don't do it because they have corruption, or they just have a stupid king who just comes around and just ruins everything. But even still, like, if you've been around for centuries, you would assume that they would have thought of some method, to make sure to really put in great ideas to make sure that they don't have any dictator who comes around who just messes all the progress they've pretty much made. Um, all the progress they've pretty much made, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, so I think it's that battle between those two worlds that I think is actually the biggest issue of all. Is the biggest issue of all. This is not supposed to be an anti-cool kid video, or anti-cool kid video, but and of course they didn't use the term cool back in those days, but it's just to give a modern sense of what I'm trying to communicate. But yeah, and you had the cool kids who just pretty much just ruined everything. They intimidated people. They said, or said that you spend too much time. You don't spend too much time having fun with people. And if you look at history, and if you look at history, they always they just cause a lot of problems. Just plain simple. And I see that happening a lot today with people. To be honest with you, I see that happening a lot today. Because to be honest with you, in general, whenever you get really good, then people start saying that you're too good. There's all this jealousy, and not just adds to the issue. And then on the other hand, you have the annoying people who just ruin everything. This could be everything from not all religious people, but some of the religious people who are just annoying, who always try to pass bills and say, oh, when you talk about living in a better world, they'll say, oh, why don't you just wait for heaven? Like, really? Till I die? And they just enforce these incredibly strict laws, and that we don't even know, because there's nothing wrong with being religious, but you have to realize, like, everything in the world, it's all a theory. It's all written. No matter what you say, it's written by somebody else, and you don't know what their purposes were. They could have been a liar, to be honest with you. But they believe that sort of stuff, and because they believe that sort of stuff, there's a lot of drama that happens as a result. There's a lot of drama that happens as a result. People are scared to go to hell. People are scared to share ideas that could change the world. People are scared to enjoy a lot of things that they would have enjoyed. People view themselves in a lower sense. People think that, oh yeah, if it wasn't me who got this idea, it was the spirits who gave me the idea from the devil, or it was God who gave me this idea. Yeah, I just have to pause the video again. Yeah, if it wasn't me who got the idea, it was God who gave me the idea. Like, all this stuff just messes with your head, and just in general, to reach a final conclusion, just in general, I think the biggest issue, to really sum it up, is just that people don't know how to get along with it. Is that just in general, we don't have a golden age because people don't know what to do with prosperity. People don't know how to deal with prosperity. And who knows, maybe that's why they don't talk much about Africa. Africa, to be honest with you. You never know. You never know, to be honest with you. Maybe that was, but I don't think so. I don't believe that they're as primitive as people make them out to be, because just in general, this world loves overrated things anyway. But pointing something out, I don't believe they're as primitive as people make them out to be. But were they, were they like feudal China or something? Probably not, because of how rugged their areas were. But just in general, it's just an issue of just pretty much just people who just ruin stuff, you know, just petty arguments and stuff. Because look at it this way, okay? And I think I might do a part 3 for this video. A part 3 for this video. Look at this way. Look at it this way. And this is what something people don't understand about happiness as a whole. Understand about happiness as a whole is that you have to understand, if you're trying to find happiness with what you got, you have to actually know what you want. I mean, you have to, yeah. You have to know what you want. And I'm going to get to that for part 3. So this is the end of part 2.